Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another video on ForgottenWeapons.com. I'm Ian McCullum, and I'm here today at Morphy's with a really cool little 22 Rimfire Pepperbox. This is a product of the Rupertus patent pistol manufacturing company. This design was patented in 1864 and manufactured in Philadelphia. Now, I'm going to tell you, normally I'd tell you more about this now, but this thing is so tiny that you can't see anything from back there. So let's bring the camera in and I'll tell you about where it came from as well as how it works and why it's kind of just really cool. So here's our adorable little Rupertus, I think I'm going to go with the Rupertus Pepperbox. For size comparison, there's a 1911. So this thing is tiny, this thing is normal sized. So what differentiates a pepperbox from a revolver is that they both have a cylinder of multiple cartridges, but a revolver has one barrel, where a pepperbox has a barrel specifically for each cartridge. So this is a pepperbox, 8 shots, kind of cool. Usually they're only 5 or 6, and usually pepperboxes that you see are percussion fired. This one is Rimfire, and it's chambered for the 22 Rimfire cartridge, which is almost, but not quite exactly, the same 22 Rimfire cartridge that we have today. Frankly, I really ought to do a video on just that cartridge because it's one of the oldest ones to have been developed. Smith & Wesson introduced the 22 Rimfire in 1857. And we essentially still have a modernized version of it today. The version of 22 Rimfire that would have been used in this was the original Smith & Wesson one. It was a 29 grain bullet and 4 grains of black powder. Of course, this predates smokeless powder by 20 or 30 years. So this was patented in 1864, and you can see the marking on the side there, Rupertus Pistol Manufacturing Company of Philadelphia. I repeat that on both sides. There were about 3,000 of these made. This particular one is number 2271. And it's got some clever elements to it. So first off, this is supposed to be the ejector rod that you can unscrew. This one rotates, but doesn't actually come out. I'm not sure why, and I don't want to try to force it and maybe break something. But that's your ejector rod. And then it's single action. So when you cock it, it does rotate the cylinder of cartridges. We have a little sheath trigger there. It fires. This one's in really good mechanical shape as far as I can tell. It seems to rotate pretty solidly. It's got a pretty good lockup. One of the nice things about pepperboxes is you don't have a cylinder gap, so you don't have to worry about how well the cylinder lines up with the barrel because, well, all the barrels are already integral on there. Now here's the neat element to this. In order to load or unload it, you have a loading port on the side, but it's rotated out of position. So what I do is I take this and I rotate this rear section back here. So there's our access for the firing pin. It gets rotated out of the way, so the firing pin cannot fall on a cartridge now. And I can open up this loading gate, and now I have access to the chambers, the guns at half cock, so the cylinder is free to rotate, and I would use this ejector rod to punch out each case in succession and reload it with live ammo. And then when you're done, close that up, it latches in place, and then you rotate the whole assembly back down like that. Now the firing pin access port is back open and the gun's ready to use. So if you wanted to carry this safely, you could put it at half cock and you could just rotate this a little bit and ensure that even if the hammer gets fired, it can't actually discharge because there's no slot. You've moved the slot, so the hammer can't actually hit a cartridge. If I pull off the grips here, there's not much I can show you inside, but we do have matching serial number on the inside of the grip, and there's the mainspring. This is very typical of this sort of period, so flat mainspring that's just going to act against the hammer when I cock the hammer. Like I said, total production about 3,000. These were manufactured in the mid to late 1860s. Rupertus did also make various types of derringers as well as revolvers, as well as this little pepperbox. I think this thing's really cool. This is civilian self-defense sort of pocket gun in the 1860s, but made with a really modern cartridge, really actually pretty high capacity for the time. Good safety mechanism. It's frankly an impressive design to me compared to a lot of the lower end, like the non-military, the pocket gun sort of standards of the 1860s. This thing's pretty remarkable. Jacob Rupertus, or Rupertus, I'm still not really sure how to pronounce his name, ultimately died in 1921 in Laurel Springs, New Jersey, having interestingly lived through as a full-grown adult both the First World War and the American Civil War. Talk about a wide swath of life experience there. Anyway, this is a particularly good condition example of one of these little 8-shot 22s. I think they're really cool. Big thanks to Morphy's for giving me access to this one to film for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.